Good evening, you're watching Lookuptv. My name is Louis. It's time for the news.
The news headlines in association with
On Lookupnews tonight, Anti-Corruption Court grants DPP 3 weeks to review graft charges against Gachagua. 5 of Ruto's cabinet nominees vetted by Parliament.
The application dated 17th October 2022 is allowed for a period of 7 days. Then we shall mention it on 24th of October 2022.
Kiambu politician GLADYS CHANIA remanded for 7 days to allow investigations following a murder. 35% of learners in both Marsabit and Samburu counties drop out of school due to drought.
Yippee! Kamata plotting at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optiven's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has been granted 3 weeks within which to review evidence in the graft case against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and 9 others. The DPP said today the prosecution, through Senior Public Prosecution Counsel Vera Omolo, have applied the court for more time to review the evidence available based on the letters received from some of the accused persons.
After the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nordin Haji, dropped corruption charges against various state officers including Aisha Juma, Moses Leonard Kulal and former Kenya Power boss Ben Chumo. A magistrate court has adjourned the hearing of Deputy President regarding Gachagua's 7.4 billion graft case after an application by the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions sought at least 3 weeks to review the matter. The case had been listed for hearing on Monday, but the Principal Prosecution Counsel Vera Hamisi indicated that the matter was being reviewed after they received a number of letters from the accused persons.
And within those 3 weeks, Your Honor, will be able to tell the court our position. Your Honor, in that regard, the prosecution is not ready to proceed with today's hearing because we want to just report to the court our position. So we'll be asking for an adjournment because even most of the accused persons are not here. And also because we are still reviewing the evidence, Your Honor, based on the letters that we received on behalf of a number of accused persons, Your Honor.
Gachagua faces 6 counts of economic crimes, including conspiracy to commit a corruption offense, money laundering and fraudulent acquisition of public property. The Deputy President is also accused of fraudulently receiving 7 billion Kenya shillings through 3 different bank accounts in his name at Rafiki Microfinance Bank, money which is alleged to be proceeds of crime. After the dropping and postponement of a chain of graft cases facing certain politicians in the country, different organizations and leaders are now calling on the Director of Public Prosecutions to come out clean on what are the reasons for dropping of charges.
The society therefore calls on the DPP to publicly reveal the reasons for the discontinuation of the cases if the public are to restore confidence in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
The ongoing drought ravaging the country has forced more than 35% of learners in both Marsabit and Samburu counties to drop out of school due to hunger. Expectant and lactating mothers have also suffered from severe malnutrition, with some even losing their lives.
With Kenya enduring its worst drought in 40 years, the effects are devastating. Marsabit and Samburu County in particular are among the counties enduring severe drought, with over 35% of students being forced to drop out of school due to hunger and starvation. Samburu North Member of Parliament Eli Letipila has come out to thank donors who have provided relief food, while also urging the national government to reintroduce food programs which he claims have been static for the past 4 months.
All the schools have reported to us that there was no supply from the government at all of the school feeding program.
To combat this tough situation, farmers in Nakuru have come up with an innovative program that will help boost food security in the country.
We need to take our own initiative with the local resources that we have. Right now, people are dying because of the hunger. What are the initiatives that we can initiate there at a very background there, grassroots level there? We need to come up with adaptation ways. This is one of the adaptation ways. Adopting this small system that saves on water, that are able to be managed easily.
The program, which involves setting up of multi-story gardens that last up to 10 years, will enable farmers in arid and semi-arid areas to maximize crop production while also allowing them to plant diverse crops. Samuel Kamau, a director at Kitchen Garden Masters Kenya, said the program not only focuses on making food available, but also improve nutritional quality, as the gardens provide lowered soil temperatures and good root penetration, which enhances plant performance. John Omari, Lookuptv.
The Kiambu Law Court has granted the police orders to continue detaining the prime suspect, GLADYS CHANIA, and her alleged accomplice, Maurice Mbugua. The two suspects who were arrested on the 14th of October are set to remain in police custody for further 7 days for further police investigations to continue. The murder of the Rwandan-based engineer, George Mbugua, allegedly happened at his matrimonial Mangu home before his body was thrown into Kieni Forest in Kiambu County. Mudheu Ndalana reports.
Kiambu politician GLADYS CHANIA was on Monday a woman under siege. Police praying for the miscellaneous application to continue holding CHANIA, who is being treated as a prime suspect in the murder of her husband. Kiambu Court Magistrate Wilson Radin, in his ruling, granted the police more time to continue remanding the key suspect in police custody at Gilgil Police Station for 7 days against 14 days prayed by the prosecution. GLADYS CHANIA, wife to the late George Mwangi, is accused of working in cahoots of Maurice Mbugua in executing George's gruesome murder.
Complex matter, and the investigators need more time. Just to put the pedestal here and to balance the interests of the parties, it will be of less prejudice if the period that is requested, I can see that it is the 14 days, but the court will allow the period to be for 7 days. Yeah? So the application dated 17th October 2022 is allowed for a period of 7 days. Then we shall mention it on 24th of October 2022 for further orders.
Police and DCI officers are to continue with the investigation on the murder of Rwandan-based engineer George that allegedly took place in his Mangu matrimonial home before being wrapped and thrown into the Kieni forests. Despite complaints about the short period allocated for investigations, the findings will be addressed before the court before a murder case is filed.
The nature of this case, it is complex. The 24 hours granted by the law is not sufficient. The matter was arrested on Friday, and a lot need to be done in order for evidence to be gathered so that the person who is culpable is arraigned before this court to take plea.
As the suspect's defense called out the pledge by the prosecution on having the suspects remain in police custody, they urged the court to release suspects on bond. GLADYS CHANIA and her alleged accomplice Maurice Mbugua were taken into custody on 14th October after George's body was retrieved from the forest.
The police have the honors and obligation to continue their investigations. But they can't be allowed to detain accused persons at their pressure as they continue their investigations. And because these matters have been concluded by the High Court, I am urging you, Anna, very, very humbly. You release these people on bond. They have shown cooperation up to now. They will cooperate today and they will cooperate tomorrow.
The late George Mwangi's untimely death was allegedly caused by a hit on his head by a blunt object. The puzzle to the murder deepens as one of the workers, known as John, disappeared. Mudeunda Lana, Lookuptv.
There are now increasing cases of calls for the government to act in allegations of mistreatment and even death in Saudi Arabia. And now a family from Meru County is asking for help to transport the body of their daughter, Jacqueline Muthoni Kiambi, from Saudi Arabia, where she died under mysterious circumstances.
Grief engulfed the family of Jacqueline Muthoni Kiambi from Imenti in Meru County after receiving the news that their daughter had died under mysterious circumstances while working in Saudi Arabia. Jacqueline's mother, Jane Kiambi, who has been left with the responsibility of taking care of Jacqueline's children, has asked for help since she's the only breadwinner in the family.
Jacqueline ni mtoto wangu na nasikia na kupia huko Saudi Arabia. Naomba serikali unisaidie mtoto wangu apike Kenya.
According to the family, Jacqueline, who has been working in Saudi Arabia since 2013, has been in constant communication with the family until December last year when they lost contact with her. The family is asking for assistance from the government to be able to bring her body to the country since they are financially constrained.
Tukiwasiliana na yeye akituambia yeye ni mzima, akituambia anaendelea vizuri, anatuuliza nyumbani tunaendeleaje, tunamwambia tunaendelea vizuri. Lakini wakati I think last year hivi kitu July ndio tulikuwa tumeongea na yeye, na December pia akaongea akasema ako under deportation, sasa ndiye arudi Kenya. Sasa hatujui kuliendaje, mara moja akanyamaza, tukiandika message ni kugretic, hakuna blue tick. Sasa tukashindwa inaendaje, tukaendelea hivyo, nikajaribu.
There was no communication. Hajawahi tuambia kama yeye ni mgonjwa, hajawahi tuambia kama amegonjeka, hajawahi tuambia kama kuna shinda anapata huko. Lakini the moment ile communication ikatika, we started thinking otherwise, though we could not communicate to her.
When being vetted before the parliamentary committee, the nominee for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has sworn to solve the disaster of Kenyans dying abroad when going to look for jobs, if the committee is going to approve his appointment, saying it's sad to hear that 85 Kenyans have died in the Gulf in the past 5 months only.
And some of the things that we want to do is that it's a clear recording. If you're going to send our kids overseas for work, you need to have a record of who you are sending. You need clearance by the Foreign Ministry, not only by the Labour Ministry. And when they arrive in that other country, we'd like to get within 2 weeks to know which home they are domiciled and where they are working. If we don't get that list, then that organization will not be allowed to send any other person to that country ever again until that is met.
Edwin John Mukora, Lookuptv.
You're watching the news on Lookuptv. We're going into a short break now. We'll come back with more.
Yippee! Kamata plotting at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivant's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
for all your football, F1, and World Cup kits. Carrington Sportswear Hub is your plug for quality, sporty merchandise. Reach out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Lookuptv or call us on 0700 893 542.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
The main suspect in the murder of Ida Odinga's bodyguard, Barack Otieno, was arraigned in the Kisumu Magistrate Court today after an arrest that took police officers 4 days of pursuit. Collins Okundi pleaded not guilty to crimes of murder and illegal possession of a firearm. He was detained at the Kisumu High Court cell for the next 14 days when his case will be heard in the presence of his lawyer.
The man behind Thursday's fatal shooting that left Ida Odinga's bodyguard lifeless and injured his friends was arraigned on Monday in Kisumu before Senior Magistrate Estella Telewa. Collins Okunda was ferried from Eldoret following his arrest after he went into hiding for 4 days. A pistol that is suspected to be the murder weapon and 7 rounds of ammunition were found with him during the arrest. The suspect pleaded not guilty to the prosecutor's allegations of murder with violence and possession of a firearm. In a ruling, the court dismissed his plea for bond, stating that his freedom was a threat to the security of Ida Odinga's family and detained him for 14 days to allow the DCI to probe the matter and also to conduct forensic analysis on the weapon ahead of prosecution. Wangari Njoroge, Lookuptv.
Questions of integrity, general conduct, as well as experience played a key role in the first day of vetting of Cabinet Secretary nominees, where 5 of 24 have so far been vetted. The nominees were faced with tough questions and asked to state their net worth. Some appear to struggle to explain the source of their wealth.
Would you tell this committee your financial net worth?
Mr. Speaker, yes, I would comment on that. If I take my investments in shares in various, in some companies, and also the properties that I own, I would put my net worth at about 4 billion shillings.
4 billion. What are your current and anticipated sources of income?
Mr. Speaker, rental income, dividends, where I have the shareholdings, and also interests, and of course other expenses that come from the farm.
We witnessed that there's a lot of delays in prosecution, a lot of delays in investigation, blame games between the EACC and the Office of the DPP. So what are you planning to do in order to address these issues to make sure that there is justice? Justice is not delayed and Kenyans get justice, and corruption cases are addressed efficiently and effectively.
Be necessarily the work of the judicial officer before whom a case is filed to inform the public about when the case is coming, except when if the matter is being heard and there's an adjournment, then if a date is taken, it's the work of the judicial officer to indicate, and that is normally done publicly.
Bias, favoritism, or nepotism in the discharge of your duties?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Could you tell this committee your financial net worth?
Chair, I'm worth 851 million Kenya shillings, including the assets I own, including the goats and the sheep and the camels that I own. So I had to go and even in 10 days' time, I had to go and value my 231 camels.
Learning at Egerton University today stopped. Lecturers have gone on strike, with the University Academic Staff Union saying it is unfair or the protest is for a 43% cut by the institution, and they're saying they will stay on strike until their grievances have been addressed by government.
It was business unusual at the Njoro-based learning institution, Egerton University. The abrasive UASU Secretary General Constantine Wasonga was here to declare lecturer strike over salary pay cut on dons. Wasonga, who was flanked by other UASU officials, says the institution has failed to comply with court orders on staff salaries and agreements made concerning the same, and therefore its functions are suspended until the matter is resolved.
Underfunding in public universities has now reached fever level. It is a crisis. For that matter, as the National Secretary General, I want to invite all chapter secretaries to mobilize their members so that we meet on Wednesday at Jogo House. As I stand now, learning here has been stopped. The last time, the lecturers in this institution went on strike for 3 months. I came here, gave the council time to solve the problem. They have been defeated.
Wasonga has explained that the restatement of full salaries for the lecturers has been compounded by a sustained underfunding of public universities by the national government, noting that all civil servants who received salary pay cuts during the COVID-19 pandemic had their full salaries reinstated months later.
Egerton University lecturers being paid 57%? Is there any public servant earning 57%? No. Of his or a salary? No. For that matter, I want even the university council of this university to step aside, because there's nothing they're doing here. This council should be dissolved. What have they been doing from 2020?
He, however, said that the management had outlined the challenges that the university was going through to the lecturers seeking for their patience as the government plans to bail them out.
We want to register our anger, our disappointment with what is happening at Egerton University. Egerton University cannot be in the press every time agitating, and people have chosen to close their ears. We want to launch the mother of all strikes that must send a message home. Egerton University challenges must be resolved today and not tomorrow.
The National Council of Non-Governmental Organizations in the country has marked World Poverty Eradication Day by pressing the government to make an effort to alleviate poverty in the country. The chairman says the council now wants issues such as lack of food in the country and lack of security to be addressed because they contribute heavily to poverty.
As the world celebrates the National Poverty Eradication Day, the National Council of Non-Governmental Organizations have come together to mark this day. This day is designated to honor people living in poverty and acknowledge their attempts to survive.
I'm a National Council of NGOs, and with me are my colleagues.
The chairman of the council, Stephen Cheboy, has listed a number of issues such as lack of food, youth unemployment and lack of security as concerns that contribute to the poverty of the nation.
Today, keeping a pressure in relation to marking International Poverty Eradication Day, and we take a number of issues that we think, if dealt with accordingly as a nation, will eradicate poverty. We also appreciated the efforts that has been done by the government of the day. Of course, so much still on promises, but we have also challenged the government to make sure they fulfill the promises they made to Kenyans during the elections.
Cheboy has voiced complaints about food insecurity, saying that it is so unfortunate that various parts of the country are succumbing to drought currently.
Addressed the current issue of drought and said that we need food security. As part of addressing poverty, we need a lot of efforts to enhance food security in our country. What is happening in some parts of our country now is a shame. It's a shame at this age and era that we are still losing people after so many years of independence just because there is no food. Maybe of course of certain challenges like climate change, which is again a serious issue. But we are saying as an organization, we will work with other stakeholders to make sure that we do our part.
Cheboy has therefore called on government leaders in respective positions to fulfill their promises to Kenyans in order to eradicate poverty, specifically asking the President William Ruto to fulfill the Hustler Fund promise to the youths.
Take this opportunity to ask all the leaders, the recent elected leaders, to fulfill their pledges, because we are very sure they promised the people to improve the living standards of the people at every level, ward level, constituency level, county level, and even national level. So let them fulfill their pledges by coming up with various efforts to make sure that we address the challenges of poverty in our country. Kusema sisi tukiwa shirika, sisi tukiwa an umbrella organization, tutashirikiana na washikadau wale wengine wote kuona umaskini imeangamizwa katika taifa letu.
Grace Mureithi, Lookuptv.
A Form 4 student from Masalani High School has been attacked by a hippo while drawing water from Athi River in Kibwezi. Residents in the area have now partnered with KWS officials in efforts to find the hippo.
The conflict between the hippos and the man in the ecosystem has so far led to the death of 2 people in Kibwezi, one of them being a student who lost his life after being attacked by the marauding hippos in the area.
Mjukuu wangu mkubwa wa huyo alipambana na kiboko hapo mtoni akiwa anasota maji vile vile, ikamuumiza sana zaidi, mpaka tukampeleka Makindu. Kwanza tukampeleka Ambrevu, tukamtoa Ambrevu tukampeleka Makindu, akatoka Makindu mpaka Nairobi, ndio alikuwa anatibiwa huko. Natoka mwaka hiyo hata kwa sasa hakuna chochote tulikuwa tunapata, ndio tunaongojea tu tuone tutafanywa nini.
Kwani kiboko imekuwa ya maana kuliko watu? So hiyo ndio sasa tunataka kudeal nayo haraka within the next 1 week. Hapa lazima peace irudi.
In other news, farmers in Mumias have complained that their sugarcanes are being neglected by the new management of the Mumias Sugar Company. The leaders have rebelled Sarai for failure to intervene in the issues of the company's employees.
Sisi kama wakulima hatuhusishwi. Hii factory ya Mumias ilipoanza 1966. The meeting was called. I was alive. The meeting was called. Wakulima wote walikuja wakaanza kusikizana ya kwamba hii itakuja kusaidia the locals. Watu ambao wako karibu watapata kazi hapo, na watu wengine tukawacha mashamba tukahama tukakuja nje. Tukatoka huko. Lakini kufikia saa hizi huyu mwenye amekuja ananunua miwa kama vitunguu tu. Huwezi jua ametoa wapi miwa, lakini ndio miwa zinapatikana.
Meanwhile, the ravaging drought that has choked the country has forced the Kenya Food Banking Organization to take action and deliver aid food to the residents of Iyat Village, Kajiado County, being faced by the severe drought.
Leo tumeweza kuleta chakula ambayo itaweza kupea watu familia kama 600 chakula ya kukula, na ninasema ni asante sana, ni kwa sababu ya wahisani ambao tumeshirikiana na wao katika hii kazi, wote ambao tuliwaendea na wakakubalia kushirikiana nasi na pia kutupatia chakula.
In the day's sport, drifting Guinness World Record holder Ahmed Daham is in the country to promote motorsport, courtesy of Red Bull. The 35-year-old will meet motorsport community, drift car builders and upcoming drift drivers. Daham says he is impressed with the huge following of the sport in Kenya and suspects they will make global